This is the information that the major religions of the world don't want you to know, is something which is said by people who are selling more religious arguments. It is peculiar, don't you think, that when someone who has suddenly read a book on the Kabbalah suddenly feels that there's been an awful lot of wisdom which has been suppressed in order to maintain social cohesion through enforcing beliefs upon people, and they feel that it is right and appropriate to come out with more beliefs and try and enforce them upon people. I find this rather, I think the word is ironic. The fact of the matter is that if someone is a religious believer, they are going to be a religious believer, and there's very little that can be done to change that. Let's take the example, for instance, of creationism. How often do we struggle in our discussions with people who have beliefs, strongly held beliefs, and try to explain to them that some things are more likely to be true than other things, and that there is evidence which supports that. When someone has a belief, they can't easily be shaken free. And that is why I will always say that belief itself is like a form of disease. And the scientific method, which involves investigating, exploring, experimenting, repeating a few experiments, seeing what happens, can actually be applied to some supernatural phenomenon. Does it mean to say that I am unearthing the occult truths of the universe that most religions don't want us to know? No, I'm providing another point of view, but my point of view is about a certain attitude towards researching into the supernatural, because it's a question of experimenting and exploring, and not jumping to any beliefs that it happens to be, I don't know, the flying spaghetti monster adjusting the forces of nature with his noodly appendage. Rather, I'm saying that we just don't know. But we can experiment and we can explore. And all we can do is to explain, or try to explain, what we have gone through, what we have done, and what we have achieved. To state for one moment that there's some knowledge that the major religions of the world don't want us to know is bullshit. It is bullshit because religion is about belief, it's not about knowledge. It is about giving people beliefs and convincing them that the word belief and knowledge are interchangeable and have the same meaning. That the phrase, it is a fact that, and it is a belief that, are the same. But within what I'm doing, I don't feel the need to tell you that what I'm trying to explain is what the religions of the world don't want you to know. Because what I'm explaining is what the skeptics of the world don't want you to think about. Not to know, but to think about. The recent video I did against the skeptic demonstrated and illustrated how pathetic the reasoning of the skeptic is, how belligerent, how extreme, how aggressive, and how irrational, taking into account that I'm actually trying to explore the world. If I was a Newtonian physicist, and Newtonian physics was being frowned upon by a certain body of people, I would probably be attacked for clanging a couple of balls together, or throwing a brick and seeing how far it would fly. No, throwing a brick is evil. Throwing a brick is wrong. Throwing a brick is unscientific. But let's say you take this proverbial brick And it's a proverbial brick. Don't go around throwing bricks at people, okay? That's not cool. That's not cool, okay? Let's take this proverbial brick, alright, and work out through trial and error what happens, what seems to happen, what doesn't happen, and not to develop too many beliefs on the way, but to develop little models of the world and try and build up upon them. That's all I'm suggesting. And someone comes to me as a skeptic, they're going to have a rough time ahead of them, because they have more pseudoscience in their reasoning and in their arguments than they have any real science. And it's down to me, a tarot reader, a fortune teller, to demonstrate that their arguments are wrong. But people who hold true and hold fast to any set of beliefs, any set of ideas, any set of theories, can be very difficult to deal with. I'm going to provide somewhere a link to a 1 hour and 20-minute video, which is on a channel called uchannel. If you haven't subscribed to uchannel, do so. It gives you all the up-to-date videos and lectures from organizations such as the Council on Foreign Relations, the Woodrow Wilson School, and other organizations. There's also some very interesting information on climate change and the rest of that. So it's essentially pause for thought. I'm going to post a link to their channel and also to one particular video which they've done on the history of creationism, which will also show you how difficult it can be to fight against people who have beliefs. Not that I'm going to stop trying, because if something is true, it remains true no matter whether people accept it or not. Not because some great religion doesn't want you to know or to believe this stuff, but because, you know, it's just plain true, and you just learn to accept these things. If you're a skeptic, you've got to accept that there are some things which are true which you don't know anything about. Most skeptics are political beings, political people. And I do truly feel sorry for them, because they don't have a broad enough mind to turn around and say, we don't know.